I have to give it up to those 5 students in Florida. They went out on the ocean, caught a shark, a pretty good sized one, gutted it, and hung it from the rafters of their auditorium. Dude, that's awesome. What a prank. Now, I'm not particularly fond of some of the things that went on, but whatever the case, I think it's funny, and it has got a whole lot of people really pissed off, but they shouldn't be. The reason why they're upset, ignorance. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
All right, let's go ahead and read about this incident. According to the St. Johns County School District, the shark was discovered at Ponte Vedra High School in Ponte Vedra Beach at 7 a.m. by the school's maintenance manager. It was removed from the property by 8 a.m. Now, I'm not sure if it's Ponte Vedra or Vedra. Sorry, I'm not from Florida. At any rate, Christina Upchurch, a spokesperson for the district, said in an interview with Newsweek Thursday afternoon that officials have determined that up to 5 students were behind the incident, but didn't have further details. However, a student who spoke with Florida news station WJXT anonymously said that it was a senior prank. Upchurch said that senior pranks are currently taking place in area schools. So let's go ahead and skip down. Ponte Vedra High School's mascot is a shark. So what would you hang from the rafters? You know, like a bear or a barracuda? I mean, a shark, of course. The incident is currently being investigated by the district as well as the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. All that over a fish? One? You have the Sheriff's Office, the Wildlife Commission, and the school district all pouring their resources into investigating the loss of a fish. Incredible. I guess our money just grows on trees. Well, it's Florida, so I don't have to pay for it. Photos shared online by WJTX journalist Marilyn Parker show the shark dangling from the ropes above a staircase at the school. WJXT reported that a biology professor said that the species could be a sandbar shark, though noted that it could be hard to tell for certain from the photos. To me, it looks like a bull shark. I really can't tell the difference between the two. My eyesight's not that good. And it does make somewhat of a difference. Bull sharks are not protected. Sandbar sharks are. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to grieve over the loss of either one of them, but I'm certainly not going to grieve over the loss of a bull shark because they have a tendency to bite humans. The species prefers coastal and offshore sandy areas of the Florida Gulf and Atlantic coasts, and it is prohibited from the recreational and commercial harvest in Florida state waters. Okay, so they may have broken the law depending on the type of shark that they caught. And there it is. I think it's funny. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is cruel. How could you laugh? I'll explain why in a moment. So let's go down here. They're talking about another incident that I think is hilarious, but I know that biologists are going to get really mad at. In Australia in October, a man was accused of taking a location tag off of a shark and setting off fake warnings. The man allegedly removed the tag from a great white shark after accidentally catching the animal before releasing it. So he's got the tag, he's probably driving around town, and they're following it, right? And so their conversation probably went like, well, it was off the beach of Sydney, and now it's going down Main Street. The shark just made a right on 122nd. Oh, this is too good. I love it. Those are the kind of stories I love to hear. This month in Australia, fishermen caught a shark that was being eaten by another large sea creature. I'd like to know what that was. They don't even identify it here. But yeah, I'm not so much scared of the shark. I'm more scared of the thing that was eating it. Now, I know you're thinking, oh, It's cruel what they did. And by the way, they bludgeoned it with a baseball bat. So the students took turns, I guess, beating it with a baseball bat to kill it. And most people are saying, this is cruel. This is animal cruelty. We'll hang on to that for just a moment longer. So we're going to listen to a news report about it. And this is the kind of news report that pisses me off. Watch how they manipulate you into believing that this is a terrible thing. Listen.
New at 5, a senior prank gone way too far.
Gone way too far. Who makes that deduction? Who gets to decide that? That is a value judgment that you have no business placing on this story. But they're doing this all the time now. Well, they've been doing it for like the last 20, 30 years, and it's getting very annoying. It's not up to you to tell me how I should feel about it. Tell me what happened. I'll decide whether it's a prank gone too far.
A group of students are accused of hanging a shark from the ceiling of their school.
Fox 35.
From the ceiling of their school. Notice the manipulation. Again, they have no right to tell us how we should feel about the story.
Maker Ray Vieta is live in the Alert Center with this story. So Ray, FWC now looking into this.
John, and you can see right there, it is quite the sight. That's a gutted shark hanging on the rafters of the school courtyard. The school staff ended up disposing of the carcass before FWC was notified. Still, FWC is now investigating. Here's what they...
Yeah, I would assume that they did. I don't think they just left it hanging there. Like, wow, this is really cool. It actually does fit the decor. Let's leave it.
They tell us on Tuesday night, the shark was harvested, gutted, and stored in a freezer before students hung it. Then last night, the agency says a group of 5 high school students hung it up at Ponte Vedra High School. FWC is looking at photos to help them identify what type of shark it was. FWC is also conducting interviews. The St. Johns County Sheriff's Office is also looking into this along with the school district. The district tells us students could face suspension, expulsion, even loss of senior year privileges. That includes participating in the graduation ceremony.
Why? Why should they face any of that? Well, I mean, you could say that they disrupted the learning environment, that you cannot do that as a student, but that's hardly a real serious breach of conduct there. You could say they were trespassing because they had to get the shark up there somehow. Again, that's not going to be a real serious charge. So why should the students face any severe punishment from the school? I don't know. Now, what about crimes? Well, again, if it was a bull shark, I don't think you can charge them with anything. They went out and fished a bull shark. They can do that. If it was a sandbar shark, you know what? They might have broken the law there. It's not like they go out fishing for these things all the time. It was one fish. I really don't think that they deserve anything more than a simple fine.
Live in the Alert Center, I'm Ray Vieta. Luann, back to you.
Yeah, sad prank indeed. Ray,
A sad prank indeed. Again, she's telling you how you should feel about it. You should be upset about that. If you want to feel sad about it, go ahead. But it shouldn't be based on what she thinks.
Thank you. Fox 35 showed you this video 4 years ago when a black-tip shark was dragged behind a speedboat. 3 men were charged with animal cruelty. Charges were dropped against one of the men. Another pleaded guilty and got 10 days in jail. The third was sentenced to community service.
I don't think anything should happen to those guys. As long as the black-tip shark is not protected, who cares? Now, I know you're thinking, you can't do this to animals. Look, when you go fishing and you put the fish on your boat, they suffocate. I don't hear anybody complaining about that. And furthermore, sharks cannot feel pain. They're not emotionally sentient and they can't feel pain. So beating on a shark is no different than beating on your mattress or beating on your pillows or beating on your car, for all that matters. It makes no difference. You cannot be cruel to a shark because they can't sense it. And I understand that somehow it just feels like the shark should be tormented in some way, but it's not. You get a lot of zoologists, and these people should know better, and yet they play this thing up. Animal cruelty. It's like garden hose cruelty. Like, hurting a shark is like trying to hurt a garden hose. And in fact, we have evidence that you can cut a shark in half and it will still try to feed. It can't feel squat. Here's an article, Psychology Today, not the best source, I agree, but it all makes pretty much sense here. This is by Michael Tai, PhD, so he obviously knows something about sharks. And the title is, Do Sharks Feel Pain? And the answer, if you read it, no, they don't. Can't be cruel to a shark. And if you think you can, explain to me how. That's all I want to hear. Just tell me how. So let's go to Twitter. This is typical. Now, I'm going to block out the name of the person because when I'm arguing with somebody, I don't want to take the argument to YouTube, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and not identify the person. I think that is kind of BS, but at any rate, let's go ahead and read here. Bludgeoning an animal to death for your own amusement is animal cruelty. They did not eat it. Well, if they ate it, why would that be less cruel? Could somebody explain that? They did not do it in defense, and they're teens. I highly doubt they did it efficiently. The animal suffered. Really, explain to me how, if the animal cannot feel pain. And by the way, you have to understand that from an evolutionary standpoint, there's a reason why certain species don't develop neural systems to feel pain. For a shark to be able to feel pain would give it no advantage over other sharks. And so, from an evolutionary standpoint, there's no reason to be able to feel pain. It's the same reason why lobsters don't feel pain. People say, oh, it's so cruel when you throw a lobster in boiling water. The lobster can't tell. It has never evolved to be able to tell the differences in temperature variations. Why? Because it lives in an environment where the temperature is always the same. We can feel heat because we have fires, and man has evolved to be able to avoid fire because it can do tremendous damage to us. And therefore, that's why we feel pain. And therefore, that's why we can feel heat and burns. Lobsters don't have that. They never encounter fires underwater, and therefore they never have to sense high temperatures. And for the same reason, sharks never have evolved to feel pain. Very few fish have, and in fact, it may be that no fish can. They're not sure. And here we go. I never said it wasn't legal to catch the shark, but they tortured it, beat it, cut its babies from its stomach. I mean, all of a sudden, the unborn become babies. By the way, if you read the bio of this person, it's pretty clear they hang out on the far left of the political spectrum. She is definitely pro-abortion. But all of a sudden, when we're talking about unborn fish, they become babies. It makes no sense. Hypocrisy, and yeah, the pro-life movement can be hypocritical too. I don't want to get involved in an abortion debate, but I just kind of find it weird how they put so much effort into making sure that people don't call unborn humans babies, then they turn around and call unborn wildlife babies. Figure it out. Then they broke into school property and hung it from a cruel display of psychopathic humor. The fact that they broke into school property is trespassing. They could be facing some charges for that. It's not going to be real serious because obviously they didn't go out there to damage property or anything like that. As far as a cruel display of psychopathic humor, there's no law against that. That is a matter of just pure opinion. I think there's grounds for expulsion and criminal charges of animal cruelty. Well, they could get charged for animal cruelty, but if they have a good lawyer, he'll bring in the zoologist and they'll say, no, fish can't feel pain. They are not emotionally sentient. They can't tell they're being mistreated. They can't. So once again, we have the left thinking that they are somehow more enlightened than everybody else, but it turns out their views are based on ignorance. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.